This is Guns, Knives, and Watches. And this video has taken me a long time to do, years even. And it's not about this knife, but anybody that watched the old channel knows that I have had a long relationship with a brand of knives called Mercworx. And this is the Vorax. These knives are not wilderness survival knives. These are not anything other than what I said in the last video about knives. These are for going against human targets. They are sharpened along the top, double-edged, long recurved blades, and very thick. This one has a chili handle on it. It's made in S30V, and it has a tan sheath on it. And anybody that knows that Vorax is no longer with us. He was a mercenary who his time in the sun has passed. So this knife has a hollowed position in my collection, or a reverent position in my collection, and it will always be in the form factor in which it is in. Of course, I've used Mercworx snipers, always with a chili handle, because I like larger handles, because it makes it to where if someone traps the knife, you have more leverage, more hand filling, you have more leverage this, there, or the other. Of course, also sharpened along the top. And these knives are for, again, going against human targets. They are not your, wilderness survival blades that a lot of people are very popular nowadays. These are for hurting people, hacking off limbs, doing things like that. This is the Equatorian, chili handle again, big nice blade, sharpened along the top. And these knives are for dealing with people in any environment. And if you are in a situation where back in the day used to be called mercenaries, now they're, and that was kind of an illegal thing, man, to be a mercenary, to be in a land that is not yours, and to be fighting for someone that is not your government, or this, there, or the other, and not in the French Foreign Legion. But this is the Equatorian, and this is for, again, lopping off limbs, dealing with things, this, there, or the other. Of course, Mercworx started out as a contractor for a group of people. That's what they did, man. And for government. This is the Golgatha. The reason I'm bringing the Golgatha out, because this is not what this review is about either, is to bring up the sheath. We're going into hunting season, and there are some hunters that like high-end gear. And you may be interested in either the Golgatha or this knife, the Orion, which is actually what this one's about. The Orion is about a 3.5-inch blade, something like that. The Golgatha is a 4.5-inch. Of course, the Golgatha, like these other knives that I showed you, has the chili type handle on it. It's a hot chili, buddy, which makes it a little more workable. Of course, this knife is not sharpened along the top, nor is the Orion, because these are utility knives. Now, the Orion has the standard type handle, and of course this Orion is made out of S30V, because this is my utility knife, or this is my backup utility knife, okay? And this is an older knife. This is an older design. You can tell the new knife has the same design, but it has a different sheath. It has a sheath more like the Golgotha, where it has adjustments for height, and you know, the belt loop is interchangeable with a lot of other things. You could probably put a tech lock on there if you wanted to. But the one thing I like about the Golgotha as opposed to the Orion is when I'm dealing and I'm around a lot of blood or carcasses, this, there, or the other, I like my hand to be a little back from the work surface, okay? So what the Golgotha allows me to do is to reach into and around areas. Now, that might be something that you're not interested in. Now, this Orion, of course, if you can see it in my hand, is more of a traditional type length. And the one thing I really like about it is I can, with that handle right there, because these are, of course, full tang knives with polished G10 on them. The reason they're polished is so that they're easy to clean up. All of these are, because you don't want to keep the blood in them, this, there, or the other. And it's the same way whether you're dealing with a hunting knife or whether you're dealing with something that's for killing humans or dealing with humans. The polished G10 just makes a hell of a lot better cleanup, a lot less residue, a lot less stank. Anyway, so the Golgotha, you know, lets you be a little bit farther back from your work surface. Another thing I kind of like about the Golgotha as opposed to the Orion is the longer, thinner blade, okay? Now this Orion, buddy, I could take that son of a bitch and I would literally could jam it into a door and pry on it and not worry about it, because it is it's a blade, man. And you've got a nice surface here to put your finger in, this, there, or the other. You can grab the front of that G10 handle and give some kind of push back on your hand and give you some feedback and get just a better grip on it and really cut something up, okay? If you're trying to, you know, do this there or the other, do that there, little, you know, do some wet work up close and personal. Where this one, you have a little more leeway on bigger animals. You know, I really like the Golgotha. The Orion is ideal for small tasks, this, there, or the other. Now, these are not for chopping. When I say utility knife, nothing that I'm going to say is going to be like your food prep knife or anything like that. These are for dealing with bodies of some type. And dealing with, you know, skinning them, dealing with this, there, or the other, dealing with because they are way too thick to be, you know, food prep, that kind of knife. And the recurve is designed for that type deal. And you can even grab them back here. And of course, I would always recommend putting a lanyard on them, and you can chop with them, or you can take the damn baton and just break some bone, get some marrow out of there, and you cooking up some stuff, man. Now this one, of course, is CPM. No, this is CPM S30V, and then this one is 154, whatever the fuck it is. You know, look it up on their website. But everybody talks about the Emerson being the most expensive, you know, whatever knife. You know, folks, you all haven't even apparently gotten into really high-end knives. Because, listen, I have 154 knives that cost, you know, a lot of money. you know, they go up to thousands of dollars. It's not, oh my God, it costs $300 or it costs $230. It's the most expensive knife in the world, man. And it's only got that kind of steel in it. Nah, man, I've got $2,000 knives that have that kind of steel in them. So it all depends on this side or the other. And of course, all these are cryogenically hardened. And where cryogenics came into all this shit is because Disney, man, he was cryogenically frozen. No, man, it's the Winston Cup. And that's where the technology really came from, is through cryogenically treating those engines to the point to where you actually take all of the molecules and take all of the stress out of the metal. So these are all cryoed. And to say that they're hard, stress-free, and this, that, or the other is not even, you can't even, for me to, because see, if I would have made this review of this Orion a couple years ago, I would have told you how literally fucked up this knife was. But what I did was, I of course took the wicked edge and then put a 20 degree. See how thick that is right there? See how much of a bevel is on that? That is a 20 degree per side, or 40 degree edge. But it has a huge, because of the thickness of the thing. I mean, this is a knife that, it's, when you say sharpened, wedge, this is what this is, because that is only a 20 degree per side bevel, and it is that long, okay? And it's got a really good tip on it. And of course I've had to go through and take I'll tell you how I do it. I'll take these them triangles out of that Spyderco Sharp Maker, and if I've got a sharp edge or something back here that's going to create a hot spot or starts tearing up a Kydex sheath, I'll just give a little wacky knocky, and that just works. And of course you can use the polish, you can use the other one, you can use one of the white ones, but this is just what I had, and it's probably the one that I use, and just take that edge off there. But anyway, this is the Orion from Mercworx, and this is the Golgotha, and some of the other knives from Mercworx. And Mercworx is a company that I deal with a lot. Now, these are not wilderness survival blades, other than these two are more for hunting, and they have some that are more for that, the newer patterns where they don't have the sharpened top on them, this, there, or the other. I don't have a use for those because I'm not in that type of biz, man. But, if you really want to, that makes a hell of a hole in somebody, and it'll get the job done. And if you're in a combat situation where you have to have control over your knife and someone comes up and does something very nasty, like knock your weapon out of your hand, and you can't actually get to your secondary, these things work. This is Guns, Knives, and Watches. Mercworx, man. Golgotha and Orion. If you were in that hunting high-end environment, man. And remember, they come with the newer sheath nowadays. This one kind of got, this is something I would wear under more dress attire. How about that? And just get the job done. This one also works really well under dress attire for getting the job done, but it's just, they are what they are. And you can go out and hunt with them too if you're a hunter. This is Guns, Knives, and Watches. Peace out.